Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Brad Gothier, and today I thought I would just talk briefly about what's involved with starting a business from a technical level. So in this, there's about 5 steps that you need to do, and you'll be in business. I think a lot of people overthink the process and think that it's very complicated, but to create a legal entity and to have a business that can accept money and offer goods and services is not that difficult. And so, without further ado, I'm going to hop right into the screencast. Okay, so you want to start a business. Here are just a few things that you need to have in place before you can get going. It's not as difficult as some people may think. So, the first thing is obviously the entity, and the easiest, and to prelude this, I'm not an attorney, I'm not an accountant. I just have built and helped build many businesses in my life. And so the uh, the steps that are required are what I'm going to be going over. But again, consult the experts, consult an attorney, consult whoever you need to do. Don't trust me. I'm just a guy on YouTube. So, but with that said, here are the things that most people can do to get into business. So first, I'm based out of Wisconsin, so you need an entity to protect yourself in case there is some sort of incident where you might get sued, or some accident that you just want to limit your liability. And so there's actually an entity called Limited Liability Company. You've probably seen it. It's LLC. It's really the easiest way to get up and running with the business. There's other entities out there, but for the most part, I've never needed anything other than an LLC. And the way to do it, you can do it online. And so for Wisconsin, there's this, and I'll put all the links in the description. I'm in Wisconsin, so it's really just a matter of going to the Department of Financial Institutions, and you go through the process. It's about $130, which to start a business, that's pretty much a drop in the bucket. So you just go through the process, you name it, and then you go through this form. You don't need to do it in Wisconsin. One of the most popular places is Nevada, actually. And so if you look at pretty much any state, so if you want to be in state or you want to be out of state, it probably is easier to do it in state, because then you can do your address, you can just kind of fast track the whole process. There's a lot of tax reasons that you'd want to do it in a place like Nevada or Wyoming or Delaware. There's all sorts of different places that are much more business friendly than where you may be. But for the most part, there's whatever state you want. Essentially just Google the state name and then Limited Liability Company, and probably one of the top results is going to get you a page. And because it's government, they're probably all going to be fairly outdated websites like this. But it's just a matter of finding the right link, and you can file online. And it's a really simple process. You don't need to know much about anything, and if there is a question that you have, just Google it. But for the most part, creating the LLC is really straightforward. And so once you create the LLC, you also want to have a legal document that just kind of outlines the different structure aspects of the business. And the way to do that is you either consult an attorney, which is the way that I do it, or you can use a service. And so I do not recommend either way, but there's platforms that are out there that allow you to kind of fast track your legal documents. And you're always going to be better off going and talking to an attorney. But if you just want to get something up and running, there's places like LegalZoom where you can start right there, and probably for, it seems like $79 plus filing fees. So for a couple $100, I'd imagine you'd be up and running with all the legal documents that you need as well. So again, this is kind of the foundation of the business. And so LegalZoom is a really good option. and I've used it in the past. I've always had a much better experience just talking to an attorney. They're a lot more expensive, but it's you get what you pay for. So LegalZoom would be a solution. All right, so you have the entity, you have some basic documents. Now, what else do you need? What you need is it's called a employer identification number, and it doesn't technically mean that you need to be an employer. There's plenty of businesses that are just a single person. What it actually is it's more of it's kind of like the social security number, but for the business. And this allows you to do banking and do all of the stuff that's required to make you a legit entity in the eyes of the IRS. And so the EIN is a really good next step in your adventure in becoming a business owner. And so this is a really funny website. Maybe in the future when you watch this will change, but you can only use their website during business hours, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of a website, but to each its own. So essentially, and I'll have a link to this, but it may change. So if you'll see, but basically you just need to Google apply for an employer identification number. EIN is the common term. And then you just go in and apply. You just put in your entity name, your business address, and a few other things that you need, and you'll pretty much instantly have an EIN. One thing I forgot to mention is with the LLC, they give you a document that you'll have to submit. I'm pretty sure that you have to submit to some of these other areas. But so then now that you have the EIN, which is your identification number, now you're able to create a bank account. And so there's two ways to do it. One is you can go to a local bank and sit down with the banker and go through the whole process and create a bank account. With that, you'll just have to bring in the document that you get for the employer identification number, and then you also bring in your articles of organization. And once you have those, you bring all that in to the banker. You're gonna have to probably have a conversation, tell them what you're planning on doing, and that's all good and well. That's what I've historically done. But these days, it's even quicker. You can actually go to an online-only bank, and the one that we just started using and we're very, very happy with so far is Novo. And again, I'll have a link in the description for this. But Novo is a business bank that basically you can access anywhere, you can sign up anywhere, and it just works. The banks that don't have physical locations, in my opinion, seem to be doing a little bit better just for the fact that they don't have all of the overhead that normal banks do. So, when they have a physical location, they have all sorts. They have property taxes, they have, the maintenance, they have a lot of additional expenses. And so they have to then put a lot of their profit into maintaining those legacy buildings. When, I don't know about you, but when was the last time I went to a physical bank? Was, I don't know, I can't even remember. And so I do everything on my phone. So when it comes to actual banking, something like this is just a little bit better because they can put their money into making a better application. They can use it for giving you better savings rates, all sorts of stuff. And so this Novo, I've been really impressed by them. And so that's really, once you have the LLC created, you have the EIN created, and then you give all of that information to your bank, you are technically in business. You can accept money, and it's pretty exciting because it only takes maybe a half hour at the most to do all this. It might be a little bit longer if you start Googling some of the terms and you really do your research. But if you want to cruise through it, you can have it done in an afternoon. So the bank, that's the final piece. And so one other aspect to it is once you do have the bank, and you have the business set up, how do you accept money? And so there's a couple ways to do it, and there's two ways that I recommend. So if you're doing in-person stuff, like say you sell a product at a certain place, or you just accept money in person, in my opinion, the best way to do that is with the Square reader. In Square, you probably have seen this. Here's an image of it. But Square, whether it's like this one right here, where you just plug it into your phone, or you have the actual point of sale system, Square just does a really, really good job at allowing you to accept money. And so that's what I would recommend, is Square. And then on the flip side of it, if you are building something more online, the platform that I recommend is Shopify. So Shopify does an amazing, they take all of the ambiguity out of the process of selling stuff online and puts the power into your hands. And so if you are thinking about selling something online, I would definitely check out Shopify. And again, these links will be in the description as well. I'll just collaborate or consolidate all of these links and provide you a little guide in the description. But Shopify is really, really nice. And then one final piece is that you need a website. And while things like Square and Shopify do provide websites, maybe sometimes that isn't enough. And so I'll put in a personal plug where what our company does, we own a platform that integrates all of the technology that is throughout the world. So whether it is accepting money, or doing a blog, or posting videos, or doing events, whatever the things that you are doing, my company, Sitecast, provides all of the infrastructure for that. And so there's two ways that you can work with our platform. One of them is through the developer, the back end. It's called the integrated development environment. What that allows for, if you're very technical and you know how to code, you can start coding instantly and build a website and start accepting money, and you're in business. On the other side is you can just talk to one of our team members, and we can get you going as well for a website too. But once you have that website, then all of the pieces kind of fall into place, where you're now able to accept money, promote your products or services. You can have a digital presence, which really is the only presence for most businesses. And in general, you have become a fully legit business owner. So I just went over the 5 steps that you need to do to become a business owner. As you can see, it's not that much work, and it's not that complicated. There are going to be areas that might trip you up, but for the most part, you really want to just Google anything you don't understand and just go through the process step by step. Don't get overwhelmed. But seriously, within an afternoon, you can become a business owner through the steps that we outlined here. And so if you liked the video, I'm going to be creating a lot more of these, and we'll get into the nuts and bolts, but I just wanted to kind of set that foundation with how to actually create a business, because most of the things that I'll be talking about in this video series going forward is going to need that legal structure in place in order to really maximize its effectiveness. So with that said, thank you for watching, and have a great day.